Then, after searching a while, we finally found my father's car. Oh, Dad's got good taste. Is that a... It's not a Skyline, is it? And we're back. I'm Ash Mannix.
And I am
my...
Cookso. Happens, innit?
Yeah. But yeah, like... we do a quick reflection on what's just happened so far in this visual novel. I think I kind of cut it a little bit quickly in the last episode. I was kind of eager to eat my food, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts, Cookso, on what's happened so far?
I mean, like this, I didn't know anything about this visual novel apart from the fact that it's free on Steam. But going into this, I'm not sure what I was expecting, but I certainly wasn't expecting it to be as downer as it is. Like, it is quite a depressing feeling novel where you've got essentially what is a conversation, an extended conversation that happens over several months, I suppose, between these two terminally ill patients in a hospital ward. And, you know, when you load up a visual novel with a picture that has two cute anime girls on it, you don't necessarily think, terminally ill patients.
Well, I'll be honest, and I did suspect, they did talk about, in the description, I did read the description, and it mentioned a terminally ill patient, and I was like, oh, I knew, so I suspected it was going to be kind of sad, like it'll be quite sad. I didn't think it would just be terrible from, like, not terrible, but like miserable from the beginning. So yeah, I'm just feeling really down. I'm not even seeing sprites here, which actually adds to the kind of gloominess of the novel. If you had at least like usually sprites are quite bright, colourful. So having the sprites there when the characters are talking would even add some energy to the visual novel, but like we don't even have that, and I think that adds to the gloom. Like there's a lack of not animation per se, but just things happening. It seems more slow, and I think that's done on purpose, or possibly because it's effort to have sprites drawn. Yeah, I don't know. Having had some time to think about it, in the time between the episode 1 of this and this episode, yeah, it does seem a bit sad. But let's see where this goes. Shall we crack on then?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's see. Are you maybe knowledgeable about this sort of thing? Really? But I can't tell the difference at all. The white flowers blooming beyond the screen, the flowers in the vases beyond the girl's profile. While vaguely looking at both of them, I continued further with my words. So these are orchids or lilies? Look, they've got a whitish colour, right? Even though I had no interest, I just kept saying things that came to mind. However, the girl soon became like usual and fell silent. With her usual expression, she only gazed at the boring screen. When I had given up on the possibility that she would take up the conversation, I once again began to move my eyes back to the television.
Narcissus.
And we have the name of the visual novel.
Narcissus.
Or how the way she pronounces it, Narcissus.
It's supposed to be Narcissus, isn't it?
Yeah, Narcissus.
Narcissist.
Yeah, the god of
Vanity.
God of vanity, yeah. Eh?
Narcissus.
Oh, damn. That's the name of the flowers.
Oh, finally.
While answering, for the first time she faced me, swaying her long waist-length hair while pointing at the flowers shown on the television. She looked at me. Just like the flowers displayed on the screen, there was a white vinyl bracelet wrapped around her wrist with white skin. The first time that I saw that face, I thought I saw the briefest of smiles.
You know what? They saved that reveal really well. But I'm still not expecting portraits in this.
Yeah.
Wait. What?
Oh, what?
Prologue, Chapter 1, 7th floor, Chapter 2, the Silver Coupe.
Wait, was that the prologue?
No, the prologue was before it said Narcissu for the first time. Chapter 1 would be 7F, as in the 7th floor.
That's what we were on, were we not?
Yeah, so we must be on Chapter 2 now, Silver Coupe.
Why wouldn't they just go to chapter 2? Oh, now I'm worried. Wait, can I save? Oh, no.
No! Wait,
What have I done?
what have you done?
I just right-clicked.
Left click then.
Oh. Right, we'll try the silver coupe.
Yeah.
Oh, no. No, this is all part of the We've just done this, haven't we? I feel like we passed January 2005.
We did. But is this the cutscene that just... I say cutscene. Is this the conversation that just happened where she was like, you want to go with me?
Oh, well, I'll read it and we'll see.
Yeah.
Out in the world, it was in the middle of what it was called examination season. As always, the two of us were watching television today. It's boring, isn't it?
Yeah, we have seen this, haven't we?
There were days where the two of us only passed the time. Is it? Speaking of which, for you, when was it? I see, it's today, eh? No, this doesn't seem like...
No, this is new, yeah.
Why is this so confusing? Here, the today that we spoke about was that she had told me before, her temporary discharge. Wait a minute, are we sure that the 7th floor chapter wasn't the one that we were supposed to go to next?
Go back. Save!
Save here, because I don't know what... Why is this so confusing? We'll go to the title.
I like the text boxes. They reminded me of like Final Fantasy VII.
Across the hall, facing the nurse's station, was a lounge-like place.
No, we saw
Left in
this.
that, we were a number of sofas, phones. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Okay.
So in this episode of We're Two Dumb Fucks.
Like, but why does it didn't show us this? Oh,
Why did it show us this time?
I'm sure a few days passed and the winter became even more serious. Out in the world, it was in the middle of it was called examination season. As always, the two of us were watching the television today. It's boring, isn't it? An exchange that couldn't even be called a conversation. There were days where the two of us only passed the time meaninglessly. Speaking of which, for you, when was it? I see. It's today. Here, the today that we spoke about was what she had told me before. Her temporary discharge. Ah, that's right. Even if she were to once again return to the 7th floor, just once more was probably the limit. In that time, surely I would also be coming and going between home and this place.
Wait, are you sure we didn't see this one as well?
I'm wondering, for the two of us to meet again, it wasn't likely the timing would work out.
No, this is definitely new.
That which do you want to die at thing? No, not yet. She nodded in a slightly lonely way. That expression was probably because she was someone going on their second temporary discharge. Meanwhile, I had yet to realise things, and not been given my first temporary discharge from the doctors. That reminds me, in the end, did she decide on her own answer for herself? Setsumi, the arrangements are done. Coming here and speaking with some older lady. Most likely, it was the girl's mother. To me, since I was sitting nearby, the mother bowed her head slightly. Well, it's about time we'll be going. Are you ready? Well then, excuse us. Once again, giving me a small bow, the lady made to leave the place. And then, she stretched out her hand to the girl that was daughter. Oh dear. But the girl didn't make to leave the place. Even when her mother tugged on her hand, for some reason, she didn't make to stand from the folding chair. What's wrong, Setsumi?
少し苦しい。
Huh? Hurts? Where? Your chest? Stomach?
胸。
Wait here, I'll go call the doctor now.
Pitter patter.
The pitter-patter of tiny feet.
Yeah.
In a rush, the slapping sound of guest slippers rang out, and the lady ran towards the nurse's station. Left in that place was the girl, still hunched over in the folding chair, and me. Her condition, or its progression, I knew absolutely nothing about. The things that I knew were her name was Setsumi, blood type O, only the things that were on that white bracelet. However, we were residents of the 7th floor, and at the least, she was worse than me. Say, until the doctors come, want to lie down there? As I spoke, I pointed to the couch. It was something that was placed in the corner of the room from before. Look, I'll support your back.
別に。もう平気よ。
With just that reply, she quickly stood up on her own. Hey, you... Don't strain yourself. Faster than I could finish, quickly she walked out into the hall. Night, after the lights were put out. As always, holding a book of manga, unable to sleep, I wandered around the hospital. And then, with the lights off, there was the pitch-dark lounge. There, I found her figure. You're here again? What's wrong? Feeling bad again?
別に。
While looking out the window, that was all the girl replied. In the end, it seemed that the girl's temporary discharge had been postponed. With that, while I didn't know when the next opportunity would be, most likely the postponement was not in a few days, but weeks. Say, I'm just wondering, but today, you're faking being sick? Well, the term faking sickness itself might have been a bit strange. After all, we couldn't really be said to be in a normal condition. The point being, you didn't want to go on temporary leave.
意味がわからないわよ。
Well, you won't have any more after, right? To that question, she remained silent and gave no reply. From before, she had repeatedly asked me which place I planned to die in, and to that I had not yet decided, while the girl had said she didn't like home or the 7th floor. You really don't have another place to go, do you?
だったらどうなのよ。
Ah, no, nothing. In the usual lounge, now pitch dark, as always, without even looking my way, the girl sat looking out the window. Even though it was still 11 o'clock in this place called a hospital, most of the lights were already out. This place was where ordinary and extraordinary days met. Moreover, we were residents of the 7th floor. Already, we could choose nothing outside of the 7th floor and home. From that dark 7th floor window, the girl continued looking out at the outside world, the ordinary world. Still, the buildings and houses shone brightly with light. The roads home were filled with the figures of people hurrying home. I myself had only barely realised my situation, but already I was a resident of the 7th floor, a person of the extraordinary world. Probably I was already unable to return to the other world. The me whose time has stopped. Numerous seasons, white overcast skies, passed without even the need to exchange words with anyone. In the beginning, from the window I watched lively children go to school, people walking quickly. When I tired of that, I always watched the television. There was nothing else to do, nothing else I could do. Even if outside the window it was snowing, the screen had the sun. Without cold, heat, or pain, a dream world spread before my eyes. I sought peace in imaginations. I only greatly increased my knowledge, simply accumulating more and more meaningless trivia. At some point, the things shown on the television lost their sense of reality. Next was in books, in games, and then family. Finally, even my own body. As if watching some stranger, I lost the ability to understand it as real. That was why when I came to this 7th floor, I wasn't surprised. If I closed my eyes, always the world would disappear. That's why I thought I was fine with it, made myself think I was fine. And soon, I'd be discharged a second time. The next time I come here, I might not be able to walk on my own. Even though I knew that, I felt my unresisting self to be wretched. I felt myself, who didn't even have a destination, to be ridiculous.
時間を止め、心を止め、胸に大きな傷跡を作り、それでも22年も生きてきたのに哀れだと思った。
We got an age now.
22, good age. After a few days more, the cloudy days ended yesterday, and the high winter sky spread wide. Surprisingly, my father came to visit. In the beginning, he had a pained look on his face. However, he said something about my insurance. At that time, his eyes weren't sad. Well, I have to talk a bit with the doctor. Saying that, my father went down the hall. He seemed to be heading to that place from before, the gloomy conference room. Well, wasn't that? Was his father not so unhappy when he knew that he'd get insurance money?
No, I thought the insurance was talking about insurance for the payment of the hospital.
Oh. Once again, I was alone in the hospital room. With nothing to do, I stretched my hands out to the weekly magazines bought for me from the store. They were there along with the fruits and juice that he always brought when visiting, next to the basket with fruit inside, just in front of the melons that I hated. What came into view were car keys. Shining silver keys. It was the coupe Father was so proud of, with the interior he apparently had modified. Before, I had asked on a whim to borrow it, and had been quickly turned down, the keys to that car. And in my pyjamas chest pocket, that driver's license. Even though it had lost its debut that day, I had continued to carry the license. It was proof of my once ordinary days.
Yes, boy.
Without a word, I grasped the keys. I just went and did it. Even I didn't know the exact reason why. Simply, I just did that. It was like watching a single scene on television somewhere. Then, taking the few days' worth of medicine that I had been given, I just placed them in a bag from a convenience store. I headed down the hall. Slipping by the nurse's station, I quickly continued to walk towards the elevator. Plastic bag in my right hand, the car keys in my left. In my chest pocket, the license that was supposed to have lost its debut lay hidden. In front of the lounge, the next thing that came in sight was the figure of the girl, as always, watching the television, sitting in a cheap folding chair. Today she was also boredly looking at the screen. Hey you, is that interesting?
そう見える。
Nope, not at all. The usual exchange. Her eyes were, as usual, seemingly looking far away. Well then, shall we go together? Setsumi. While showing her the car key in my hand, I continued speaking. I also don't want home. Setsumi. Setsumi. I also don't want the 7th floor. So, shall we go together?
I think
Setsumi.
Setsumi is when it's going
Oh,
to her.
Sparth. Well, I think it's maybe he's calling out to her.
But why is it doing it one line at a time? Like it's got all this screen here.
I don't know. With that word, the girl stood up from the folding chair. Lightly, her long hair swayed and brushed the tip of my nose. And so, the girl also packed a few days' worth of medicine into a plastic bag. Then, the two of us placed the 7th floor behind us. I turned off the boring television. The shrilly laughing voice of the host was silenced. The two of us, in pyjamas, got on the elevator and descended from the highest floor to the first. When we came to the first floor, instead of the entrance for emergencies, normal admittance and discharges, we deliberately left from the outpatient entrance and headed to the parking lot. The moment we left the building, a cold winter blast struck us in the face. In the parking lot with few obstructions, the wind felt even stronger. Together, while we carefully peered around searching, we walked around the parking lot. Then, after searching a while, we finally found my father's car. Oh, Dad's got good taste. Is that it's not a Skyline, is it? Or a GTR?
No, is that an M or a H?
Well, I think it's supposed to be an M to not copyright or whatever. But what does it look like to you?
Nondescript coupe. The headlights make me do make me think of a Skyline.
Yeah. Maybe that's what they were going for, but they didn't make it as Skyline as a Skyline. Anyway, a silver coupe. The car Dad was so proud of that even he fussed over the interior. Quickly, I inserted the key and opened the door. Here, you can get in. Alright. I don't know why all of a sudden they decided not to do her voice. I sank myself into the deep driver's seat. For the girl in the passenger seat, because of her size, even she sat normally. It was difficult for her to see the front. Next, I put the key in my hand into the ignition. As I turned it, I stepped on the accelerator. I feel like that's not how you start a car. You don't turn the key and then put the foot on the accelerator straight away.
That logo makes me think of Honda more than anything.
That's definitely Honda.
Yeah, even
this
if it's
is
an M.
Honda, not the S2000. What was the other one?
It's definitely not an S2000. That's a convertible car.
Yeah, sugar. What was it called? The NSX?
No, it's not an NSX. That's a mid-engined.
I don't know. I mean,
also the interior of the NSX is very different to this one. It's angled towards the driver.
then I don't know.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna see what this is because
It
it's
was
very
all-
specifically a car of some kind.
Or it's trying to be.
Yeah.
It was all exactly like what the training centre had taught. Ah yes, vroom vroom noise is what that is, okay. In moments, the sound of the engine reverberated in the interior. After that, just have to release the parking brake and let go of the clutch.
At
With
which
this,
point
we
you
can
stall the engine.
Always. With this, we can go anywhere. Should be able to go anywhere. Well, here we go. The girl gave a small nod. Instead of responding, I shifted into second gear. And quietly, the car set off. Like, this guy starts at second gear? What a chad.
He should have stalled it.
As the chassis rattled from the unfamiliar clutch, slowly it went on. It's shaky, isn't it? Yeah, it's the first time in this car after all. And while we're on the subject, it's the first time driving since getting my license. I see.
I just want to point out right now that Wikipedia says it's a Honda Integra, which is not a car I'm familiar with, but I believe it's probably a popular one.
Ah, okay. I want to look that up now. Eventually, it appeared before us, the hospital parking lot exit. Just beyond it was a large road. I pulled the car out into the lightless intersection. From behind came the sound of car horns blaring at us as we suddenly pulled into the lane. The
I can only
unfamiliar clutch.
imagine how badly he's driving.
I mean, he's passed his. Oh, well, he did pass his test ages ago, so.
And then was hospitalized soon afterwards, right?
Yeah. The unfamiliar clutch ground when the gears shifted while the silver coupe ran in fits and starts. Perhaps the car just behind us was especially angry. It didn't seem like they'd stop honking for a while. Even so, without paying them any particular mind, I drove. The feeling of reality was somehow thin. Hey, you. What? Are you afraid? Being afraid would be better? No, not really. Still
I
morning.
heard a voice for a moment.
Yeah, she just went, hey. I don't know what's going on. Still morning, the sun was high. Looking beyond the windshield, the January winter sky was painted so blue it somehow felt sorrowful. It wasn't like we had a destination. That day, under the winter sky, the car swayed with the unfamiliar clutch. That day, in our pyjamas, the two of us aimed for the national road. That winter day. Oh, we even know what highway we're on. Good stuff. Around then... Oh?
I'm just going to quickly duck to get my food, yeah?
No problem. I will just... We'll just pause the video there for a second.
Yeah, and I'll be right back when it's here.
Cool. Cool, and we're back. Apologies for that little break. But shall we continue? Let's continue.
Yes.
Right, so we're on the highway. Around when that so very high sun was turning orange. We continued to drive. Simply at random, the car continued running. And then, when the area turned into an unfamiliar place, I'm stopping for a bit. Finally, I brought the car to a stop. Outside of the city area, by the roadside somewhere, a lonely place that didn't seem to have much traffic. Stopping the car in a place I didn't even know the name of, for now I started inspecting the interior.
I have to say, that's a very well done illustration of the car and the interior.
Wait, how did you find out what the car was?
Wikipedia.
What do you mean Wikipedia tells you in the Wikipedia entry for this game? Visual novel?
I'm not joking, it actually did say it. It just said silver Honda Integra.
Oh, it's so random that it tells you the exact model. What the hell? Yeah, that drawing was really, really good. Really nice.
This as well.
This is like a car person's... I wouldn't say dream, but it's definitely like in those boxes. Giving that 90s car, Japanese car nostalgia. If there were things that would even be the slightest bit useful. We had rushed out without any preparation, but I could see that we would be in trouble very soon. While thinking about that, first I searched the dashboard in front of me. There really isn't much, is there? Just a few $100 worth of what appeared to be change from the expressways. The rest were just a few books of manga and a disposable camera. It wasn't like we had a destination, but it seemed that even the navigation system installed in the car was broken. And also, the amount of money I had was about 8,000 yen. While leaving, I had hurriedly stuffed that much into my pocket.
I just want to ask one thing. I know that this is set in 2005, but navigation system in the car?
They may have had that in Japan well before us.
Maybe.
With that, and adding in the change in front of me, it would barely make 9,000 yen. Of course, it wasn't like I had been expecting to find anything in the car from the start. But with this budget, we'd probably be in trouble really soon. I could definitely believe that we wouldn't find decent lodging. Even so, I doubt that the girl had any money. Is something wrong? No, it's nothing. Oh well, it didn't matter. I should have known this from the start. To begin with, it wasn't like we had thought up arrangements or plans before acting. Instead of that, right now I wanted to move. I didn't want to sit still. Ooh, that car sounds smooth.
That's a really nice sound effect.
Under the now darkening sky, once again the silver coupe ran. By the way, are you hungry? As I drove, I spoke to the one sitting next to me. Thinking about it, we hadn't eaten since this morning. For now, let's go to a convenience store. No. Hey, don't be so picky. Compared to the 7th floor food, it absolutely has to be better. My words, the girls returned to silence. Those downcast eyes, their line of sight was on the pink pyjamas that she wore. Ah, now that you say... That's right. As I spoke, I looked down at my own clothes. It wasn't like there was no problem inside the car either. For now, we had to do something about these clothes. Making that decision, I turned the wheel from the main road and headed into town. Are you going to buy clothes with the little money you have? I feel like that's a waste. Yeah. After running a while, the place that we came to was some street I didn't know the name of. Surely it must be near some station, since it was a street where about that number of people could be seen. In a place like this, you'd think there'd be one. While glancing around the area searching, I moved the car on, slightly raising my body in the seat while driving. Ah, found it! In a short while, I spotted a coin-operated laundromat. It appeared quite run down and was on the first floor of a small apartment building. This place might be just perfect. A short distance away from the entrance, I parked the car. Alright, just wait a bit. I don't like where this is going.
They're gonna Song of Saya it, right?
Leaving the girl who was making a puzzled face, I headed to the coin-op laundromat and floor on foot. Just past the automatic doors, my nose picked up the scent of bleach and detergent. Inside, it was just as run down as the exterior, filled with old washing machines and dryers. There's no one around. I muttered that in the empty shop. There, raising a low sound while spinning, was a single unit in use. Quickly approaching that machine, I started to check the timer. It looked like 200 yen had been inserted, and it was set for 30 minutes. Also, it had been going for only 5 minutes. Most likely until it was about done, the person was passing time somewhere. Coming to that conclusion, once again from the entrance, I looked around for someone that seemed like that sort of person. Then, making sure that no one was in sight, placed my hand on that revolving dryer's door, and suddenly opened it. Opened in the middle of a drying cycle, the machine was forced into a stop temporarily. Ignoring the blast of heat and moist air, I took out a mass of half-dry clothing from inside. Then, carrying it just like that in both hands, I looked around once more before I put the shop behind me. Ah. Seeing both of my hands filled with laundry, the girl raised a bit of a surprised voice. However, paying no heed to that, I threw them into the back seat. Well, we're going. With one hand on the wheel, I eyed the pile of laundry I'd thrown in the back. At a glance, there was all flashy looking jeans and sweatshirts. All the sizes seemed to be on the large side. They were still wet, but inside the car, with heat from the vents, they'd probably be dry soon. Later, change into whatever you want. There was no particular reply to those words either. We simply eyed the pile of laundry. Well, what else could we do? I know. Even for me, it wasn't like I did this because I liked it. Plus, while the money we had wasn't being held for any particular purpose, with what we had immediately on hand, buying new clothes would have been a tight situation. Oh, so he acknowledges that.
I mean, he has to, right?
I mean, it was expensive. Yeah, I was thinking, like, you can't just go and buy clothes with I feel like you'll spend all 8,000 yen very quickly.
They'll want to spend that on food.
Yeah. And fuel.
Oh, yeah.
When the face of the moon really came out and we had driven for a while, I stopped the car near some park somewhere. It was most likely some kind of children's park, tucked in the middle of a residential neighbourhood. In the middle of that, I began to search through the clothes stolen earlier. Most likely because of the heating in the car, the laundry was totally dry. Looked like it really is all guy stuff. Exactly as when I had glanced at them, it was all gaudy jeans and sweats. Most likely it was someone about my age, and size-wise, something close. And then, while still sitting in the driver's seat, I grabbed a pair of suitable jeans and sweatshirt and started to change. Hey, you change into something too. They're all too big. Then you're going to always be in pajamas? Alright. Can't reply, the girl took... Can't?
And instant?
What the fuck? Instant I don't know what that is. The girl took hold of a pair of jeans and opened the door. Hey, where are you going? To change. With just that answer, she began walking towards the restroom that could be seen in the park just ahead. Ha 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 ha. Dude thought he was going to see her change in the car or something.
This guy's got no sensitivity.
No, maybe he was hoping.
I don't think that's
oh,
the case.
Damn, there was a changing room nearby. Hey there, that was quick. In moments, the girl returned. The pink pyjamas that she had been wearing up till now was in her hand. She had changed into jeans and a white sweatshirt. Well, it's good that you managed to put something on. There was no reply. It was something I saw coming. The size was too much and draped rather heavily on her. Since the jeans were too long, the legs were rolled up a number of times. Meanwhile, the top sweatshirt was folded over in the same way. The pyjamas were better. Well, don't say that. It's a bit warmer this way. At my words, she gave me just the slightest dissatisfied look. I guess something more feminine would have been better? Not particularly. Her usual response, even though I had thought she was dissatisfied with the poofy sweatshirt. Soon she returned to being expressionless. Sha! I don't know why they have to put in the wording for it.
These sound effects are actually kind of adorable because they're all like pitter-patter, vroom, vroom.
Maybe if you put them together. Oh, I've just realised that our faces are still showing our avatars. Oh, well.
Oh, really?
I never took them off. Oh, to
Have
hell.
fun with that.
Oh, well. Suddenly, it started raining. As if it had forgotten how to stop, rain spilled from the cold January sky. Looking from inside the car, countless raindrops in the windshield. One by one, they would grow too big to stick. A number would gather, overflow, and turn to a rivulet. Then, while flowing down, they would involve other rivulets and flow even more. The two of us just sat gazing at the rain from inside the car. In some parking lot somewhere, a lonely place in the mountains. Do you know this would be quite romantic if if this was a slightly different situation?
It's not a romance, but it does have that sort of emotional, not mystical, but like, whimsical kind of feel to it. Where it's like, let's just spend this time away. Who gives a shit?
But I feel like, like in your more traditional, teen romance thing, driving your car to the mountains, like your cool silver coupe this is like early 2000s, late 90s.
It's still cool, man. Look at it.
Yeah, but the teenager with his girlfriend in the car in the mountains, like that's it's subverting that, because we all know what the background here is. They're not here on a date. They're here to run away from
reality.
Yeah. So it's interesting that they've done this. I feel like it's on purpose in some way. Having finished shopping at a convenience store, we were spending the night. On the menu for each of us was 2 rice balls, 500 milliliters of Pocari Sweat, and half an order of fries. That is definitely Pocari Sweat, isn't it?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. Such a weird name. It's been a while since having this stuff, right? With one hand holding the convenience store rice ball, the girl murmured. Thinking about it normally, it wasn't all that splendid, but compared to the food on the 7th floor, it was good enough. And then, when both of us reached out towards the fries, suddenly the girl's hand stopped.
Food wars.
Is something wrong? Not particularly. While answering, her line of sight turned towards the whitely fogged windshield. There by the roadside, a number of white flowers could be seen. White flowers soaked by the rain. I didn't know whether they were planted by someone, Or were they natural? But those flowers seemed familiar. Those were Narcissus? Narcissus. Daffodils. Oh, daffodils.
A kind of daffodil, huh?
Ah, those were daffodils. I didn't know too much about plants and all, but daffodils, I had at least heard the name before. And I also recall that even though the girl would normally speak only rarely, she would uncharacteristically join in conversations on this topic. That's why I went along and continued to speak. And I guess these are also different from those two. Strictly speaking, they're different. They're quite rare things then, aren't they? Not particularly. They're everywhere. Everywhere, like where? For me, it wasn't like I put very much meaning in the statement. It was intended simply, from the flow of conversation, as a natural question. And yet, she thought for a moment, then slowly opened her mouth. West. West? Awajishima is famous. Hey wait, Awajishima you mean? Just how far away do you think that this is from here? For someone who had only just started driving like me, I couldn't even make a guess. Most likely, it was easily around 700 kilometers. Even using the expressways, I couldn't even begin to estimate the time it would take. First, considering our funds, it certainly didn't seem enough. Even if we stayed off the expressways and used the smaller roads, the cost of gasoline itself seemed ominous.
Yeah, it's at least one full tank plus what they've got. Another full tank, maybe.
Look, don't say unreasonable things now. There's no way we could go to such a place, right? Who said anything about wanting to go? Eh? I was asked, so I simply answered. With just that answer, the girl once again gazed beyond the windshield at those flowers. The glass inside the car, cold from the rain, was fogged white. She cast her gaze beyond even that. It's not like I wanted to go there either. However, also not like if it's not. It's also not like if we had another place to go to. Oh my god, this is so hard to read sometimes.
Gotta love stilted dialogue.
Wait, what? Oh, we've unlocked a new chapter. This is how this works.
Yeah. I feel like it showed all three of the first ones first, though, without like fading them in.
Yeah. The me whose time... Oh, she's just said that. Only increasing my knowledge, simply increasing the number meaningless values, simply desiring only information from the television screen. Eventually, reality grew faded, turned hollow.
でも、地図を見るのは好きだった。
Cars and trains, things that would take me places. I liked them. Spreading maps upon the narrow bed, connecting route after route, connecting. Sedans, coupes, convertibles. I also rode in many different kinds of cars. That ever-continuing Route 1, I ran all the way to the distant end of it. Indigo blue sky, beautiful shoreline. I ran all the way to the places painted in my dreams. Gently going around the curve traced by a cape, under the burning sunlight, dashing on a brilliant white beach. If I just closed my eyes, I could go there, I could go anywhere. Scenery that I'd never seen before would float before me as I thought about lands that I would never be able to go.
無意味にただ知識だけを増やした。虚しく憧れだけを募らせた。
A sky where the rain had let up. Followed by an amazing speed, high clouds. From the ground, the still damp asphalt gave a distinctive sha noise. Yes, the silver coupe once again. It's a real king, like leader, head of the show. Is this car, man?
The main character.
Yeah, it's probably got more character than a lot of the characters combined. I don't know. Within all of that, as always, we continued driving on. Without a destination, simply just driving on. It wasn't like we were headed to the Awajishama that we had spoke about last night. For one thing, as a problem before that, we probably didn't have the gasoline money. While pondering about that, I continued driving straight along the unknown road. But where was this, I wonder? Suddenly, I wound up thinking about it. I wasn't all that good with geography to begin with, but all the place names were ones I'd never seen before. I had been driving fairly carefully, but with the navigation system dead, I knew even less. Before I knew it, I was peering at the signs in the area while I drove. I don't really know.
何
I hate that feeling when you just read the signs and you're like, where the fuck am I?
That's how people did it in the olden days, man.
I know. I remember those days.
You just have to rely on signage and stop and look at maps.
God bless Google Maps.
And sat navs before Google Maps. No, just wondering where this is. The girl spoke to me when I looked around, and I gave a simple reply. Well, most likely, even if I asked her, she wouldn't have known.
入間よ。埼玉県の
Saitama! One punch! Sorry, that's a random reference.
次の交差点を右に行けば16号線八王子へ出るわ
So the beginning of this chapter was to establish that she has looked at maps a lot and knows all the routes.
Yeah. She's the
You-
navigator.
No. Did you live here before?
別にそんなんじゃないわよ
That was a surprise. No, instead of surprising, why she knew so much was mysterious. No matter how you looked, she didn't seem the type to get in a car and go around. Then maybe, from here to that place, Aojishima, you know the way?
質問の意味がわからない
Well, you see, without getting on the expressway, we might be able to get there using only the small roads, right? Look, the gasoline costs, our money might be enough after all.
あなた行きたいの
No, it's not like I meant that,
じゃあ
but
聞かないで
one second while I just... It's so frustrating. You know when she asks that question that you should just go, yes, or something.
Yeah.
Because clearly you want to... I mean, he's done... Half of the reason he's done this is because he doesn't want to, like, he wants to help her a little bit. Do something nice. At the
He's
same
also
time,
helping himself.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have necessarily done that without her. Without her being there, without her planting that seed.
Yeah. About the seventh floor, like 3 discharges only.
And also just seeing someone admitting openly, I don't want to die here and I don't want to die at home. You know, making him think about it and confront the situation. Without her being there, he might not have... He might have just resigned himself to his fate and maybe just
Stayed in the
chose to...
hospital.
Or stayed, or went home. You know? So without her... Like, I get he's wanting to do this for her and for himself. But like every time, so this is the second or third time she's like, do you want to? Just say yes. You know what I mean? Because clearly that's what you're... Half of the reason you're here, because you don't have anywhere to go. So you've chosen... Like, this is how I'm interpreting the situation, but I think he has chosen to take her to a place that she wants to go. I think that's what he wants to do just now. Because he'd rather be anywhere than in the hospital or at home. And this, in a small way, is him doing something with the rest of his life. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. I do get what you mean. It's just that when you put it as the rest of his life, I just realized, oh shit, it is.
Yes. Like, this is like, you want to do something. You want your life to be meaningful. You know what I mean? I think this in general, most people want that. Whether that's meaning they've gotten to the meaning to themselves, or you want your life to give meaning or help others. Like, it's different for different people, and I feel
you want your life to have had value. I think.
And you can, how you judge what value is different for different people. But like, for him, it seems like he's decided that if this is his life, and if this is going to be the rest of his life, this short span of remaining time, he wants to do this for this other person. And like, she's like, nobody else understands him. We've already established that his school friends or school colleagues, school friends don't even bother seeing him anymore. They've given up. They don't live.
Wasn't
in
that her? I thought that was her perspective.
Ooh.
Yeah,
that would make sense, because he's only recently came to terms with this, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
she's been there for a long time.
All right. Oh well, that's scupper that, isn't it? But like, well, you can see how his parents have been about it. They've been weird. He's 20, so I mean, what type of disease do you get at the age of 20 that deteriorates you so fast? But
You can get all sorts of stuff, man. You never know.
I know, but like, they seem weird. His family seem really weird about it. The kind of thin smiles and stuff like that, and just like.
It's that sort of like not knowing what to do about it.
But they've just fired him into a hospital. For what? I mean, I suppose they're giving him medicine and stuff like that, but I don't know, man. I don't like the way his family have dealt with things. I just feel like maybe this is not meant to be the case, but to me they come across kind of bad.
I will say we are seeing this through the coloured lens of his eyes.
That's true. That's true. But yes, I to bring things back to what I was originally saying, I cringe at this guy. Keeps making the same bloody mistake when she asks that question. With those final words, the girl once again fell silent. In her usual cold way, she remained staring out the window. I had the feeling that what those eyes were looking at was not the scenery flowing by before her, but a much further place. Those words from before. Don't ask. Just what did they mean, I wonder? If I had answered that... Just guy, man. If I had answered that I planned on going, what would she have answered? Without a destination, we simply travelled. From the start, we hadn't any plans or schedules. Simply, we just hated both the 7th floor and our shallow homes. But for me, at least just for me, it didn't matter what, I probably wanted something to give me direction. Yeah. I think I was talking about that, like, he just wants... I mean, he calls it direction, but it's also purpose.
Yeah.
It's cold, isn't it? Some beach I didn't know the name of. When I noticed, we were headed out towards the sea. I'd intended to head west, but it seemed at some point I wound up heading south. God, mate, how'd you go south accidentally instead of west?
And wasn't looking at where the sun was.
A beach with a pitch black sky and a strong cold wind. The two of us left the car and stood gazing at the dark sea. As always, the girl looked far away with a downcast air at where the black sky and sea merged at the horizon. And then, after watching the sea for a while, slowly she began walking to the water's edge. Right, I'm just gonna say, warning here, do not let her walk into the sea, because I know where this is going. And I don't understand the meaning of your question.
Absolutely not. Drowning is one of the worst ways to go.
Is it?
Quite painful.
Her back was still turned to me, whereas as she continued walking to the water's edge. The third time was the last. There is no fourth. Probably it would come to picking between the 7th floor and home. It seems no one has escaped that. Those were words the girl had once passed to me, and she was on her 2nd and had said that she wanted neither home nor the 7th floor. Already, this was after she had passed it to me. Already, her task was over. That was why I figured it meant that, who knows, I've never drowned before.
止める。
I'm pausing here for a second because I've got this is definitely her giving him an opportunity to not be, an idiot.
Then don't ask.
Here we go. While speaking, she turned around and looked at my face, placing the moon floating in the pitch-dark black sky to her back. The gaze that was always looking at some faraway place was looking straight at me. I don't know, not until that time. Oh my god. I'm disappointed in this dude.
そうよね。
And then, turning her back to me, and once again facing the sea, she slowly took a step forward.
She's
Hey,
shit testing him.
You,
何？
is it that you want me to stop you? God damn.
What a fucking idiot, I swear.
This guy is older than her as well, okay? He's 20, right? No,
No,
he's not.
she's
She's older than
22.
him.
Yeah.
Right, this guy's 20, he's not 15, right? So, like, it's not like he's a kid.
He's old enough to drive a car.
At my words, the girl stopped just a few steps before the breaking waves. The strong wind misted up the spray from the waves, striking her feet. If you want me to stop you, I'll stop you.
別にそんなんじゃないわよ。
Then I don't have to stop you, right? For that question, there was no reply either. However, the feet that stopped did not go further. That was why I thought that was her reply. A high sky that could only be found in winter, stained heart-wrenchingly blue with a strong wind that whistled across the elevated rail line. What's this elevator
What is
music?
it? Wait, I think I might need to up the volume to hear it properly. Hang on.
It's very low.
It is a little bit cheerful, isn't it?
It's a bit elevator music-y.
Like a corporate video.
Yeah. Reflecting that blue sky was the metallic hood of the running silver coupe. I was gripping the steering wheel and she sat in her usual way in the passenger seat. Where this was, I didn't know, but as a more real problem, in moments we were going to run out of gasoline. We hadn't had that much money to begin with, but from purchases at convenience stores, our remaining funds were even less now. Now there was only 7,000 yen. Of course, I didn't know how many litres this car took, but I thought we probably had enough to fill the tank once. It wasn't as if we had destination or anything, but losing our legs would mean we'd be stuck. I'll go get some gas. While speaking, I turned the wheel and headed toward the gas station in front of us.
Have you ever been in the situation where you're like running really low on petrol?
Yes, I'm pretty sure I've done it once or twice. I've done it once or twice where I've hit the red lights came on, and I'm like, I can make it.
Man, I'll tell you, this happened to me quite recently, right? I was driving to south of the river, so I was going to take Blackwall Tunnel, and there was a lot of traffic, lots of traffic, and my car had only like 2 blocks of fuel left.
Oh.
And I'm like, 2 blocks, that'll get me south of the river. And as I'm sitting there in the traffic jam, I just look at my fuel gauge and it drops by 1. So there's 1 block left, and then the light comes on. And I'm like, well, fuck, I can do one of 2 things. I can call the dudes I'm meeting and say, sorry, I'm not going to be able to make it. Or I can be an idiot and head under the tunnel, Blackwall Tunnel, with this much fuel and see if I make it.
I know. I know which option you took. I ain't going back.
Yeah, fuck that. I'm like, I'm going to be an idiot. And I went under the tunnel and I made it because right after the tunnel, I'm like, all right, nearest petrol station. And it's like a mile down the road. So I made it. It was not a problem. But man, that got a bit tense because there's so much traffic and it's like lorries and shit everywhere. Madness. But yeah, that's a special kind of tension when you're running out of petrol because you can really feel your ass cheeks clench.
Yeah, and you don't want to get stuck on traffic as well because it will just be havoc.
Well, even better would be if I broke down in Blackwall Tunnel.
Oh,
Because it's only 2 lanes to go south of the river on that, and it's very busy.
Dear. That just gives me the fear just thinking about it. We're hitting about the 1 hour mark, right? So I think I'll end the episode here. And are you good for another episode?
I'm good to carry on to this, yeah.
Cool. Well, just to prevent these episodes from being too long, this is hour. I was trying to do it in half-an-hour segments. That went out the window. Oh well. So yeah, it's interesting. So they're on the run. The police haven't featured at all, considering he stole the car. It's been a couple of days, which is interesting. But we seem to be heading nowhere, but maybe heading to this place that has the specific type of flower that she's looking for. Is it Setsuna? What's the girl's name?
Oh, Setsumi.
Setsumi.
And yeah, it's Awajishima that she wants to go to.
Yeah, it's like, do you want me to go to Awajishima? No.
Then don't ask.
Well, in actual fact, she should just say yes. Or he should say yes. But anyway, we will see you next time, and hopefully, I don't know where this is going, but it seems a little bit more cheery than, at least they're going somewhere. There's purpose. You know what I mean?
They haven't decided yet.
But they're traveling. They're making their way somewhere.
They're wandering right now.
Yeah, they've gotten away from the super, miserable hospital. And they're on a journey, even if it's a aimless journey. It's a journey nonetheless. But yeah, I'm Ash Mannix.
And I'm Pixel.
And hopefully we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.